Well, it's me again, Ben, with Coyote Outdoors. And we're here in the shop and we bought this gem. So we're gonna see what we can do about putting it back together. Probably not gonna go very well. A lot of these trucks over the years, I've gotten to know them inside and out very, very well. Especially the first gens and the second gens. So we're going to start the channel off with this guy right here. This is a 98 Ram that I picked up a couple days ago for what I would consider a very, very good price. She has a lot of issues to work out though. So that's why I think this is a good truck to start the channel with. I guess I'll go ahead and take you guys on a walk around with it and we'll see. This is it's gonna be a big one. Yeah, it's probably not gonna go as planned, but we're gonna try. All right, so now I'm just gonna give you a walk around. This is a 98 Ram 1500. They got some big old wheels on it here. I don't even know what these are. 35, 12.5, 50R, 20 LTs. That is a mouthful. Looks like it's got maybe about a 6-inch rough country lift on it. Let's see, it's newer, but not crazy new. The previous owners, I believe, replaced the fenders. They definitely did an aftermarket cowled hood kind of jobber on it. They put the mirrors on it here, the moose mirrors. Just some lifter blocks in the rear. Nothing too exciting. There's a toolbox in the bed. I guess you can see the truck used to be white. The rockers on this side aren't horrible, but they definitely need replaced. This is always interesting here when you see them people doing this kind of work. Instead of actually cutting it in properly, they just stick it over and throw a couple tack welds on it, but whatever. If we have time, we'll fix that. Coming around the back, we have our eBay taillights. We got a roll pan. I can say again, the truck was originally white. The previous owner was nice enough to leave all kind of Ooh, we got a shop chair. Man. And an oil pan that's crushed. But man, I'm stoked about that shop. Ratchet straps? No. I did not look good. I did not look through this good enough the other day. It was full of snow. I brought it in the shop to let it thaw out. That's gold right there. Wonder what we'll find in the toolbox. That there is actually the transmission for this truck. This truck does not have reverse, so we went and got a junkyard transmission for it. I actually have no idea what's wrong with the transmission for this truck, but we decided to go ahead and do a transmission for it anyways, since these trucks are known for transmissions. You can see the rockers on this side are a little bit worse. Again, same really good patch panel job there. So not much else I can say. It's this fiberglass hood. I don't know if this is an actual hood piece or if it's just a fiberglass skin they put over the existing hood. Because you'll see on the inside looks like it's still the original hood. It's cracked there. I'm probably going to try to source another hood and grill for this truck because as you can see, the grill is not in the greatest shape. And if we take a step back, you'll notice that the bumper's a bit skewed too. I don't see any damage to the bumper, so I'm not sure why it's skewed. But that's a quick walk around of the outside of the truck. Let's go see what we have on the inside. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I also forgot the assist springs are missing off the hood. I guess I gotta add that to the list because because now the hood won't stay up. That's all right. You got a stack of wood here. Problem solved. Oh, I need a new belt. Well, that's weird. The core support used to be red when the rest of the truck was white. So that's been replaced. The inner fenders are white. The underside of the hood is black, which looks like it was spray painted, so that's nothing crazy. Just let me get you in here for a closer look. I'm not saying a lot of bad, but I'm not saying a lot of good either. Got myself into a project this time. Oh, the hood latch is seized. That's nice. All right, under the hood, first thing I notice is I'm getting a drip there. That is trans fluid. And then I look up here and notice this, the trans cooler, which is just laying in here and is full of water and has a hole rubbed in it from just hanging down there on the bumper. I'm also noticing the air conditioner condenser is not attached at all. Headlights are not attached at all. That one is. Look at that overspray. Isn't that nice? Don't you love it when people paint something and don't even have the decency to tape it off? Here's what I was talking about, the hood. Oh no, I guess that is plastic. I thought that was metal when I looked at it earlier. But the other day when I bought the truck, I bought it in the dark, in the cold. It was like 7 degrees outside. So I didn't look at a whole lot. I just tossed in the money and ran with it because, I mean, let's be honest, the rims and tires on this truck are worth every bit of that. Guess we'll be looking into that. That's about 6 inches further out than the other side. That tells me it's got a broken track bar. There's the Dixie horns. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, or something like that. There's probably some kind of copyright infringement or something that's going to happen to me now. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, definitely some new hood latches. None of that fender's not all the way bolted on. That's nice. I mean, this is always high quality. Oh. Well, I mean, okay. That's where that's going to stay. No coolant in the coolant reservoir. Earl. There is Earl. It's low, but it's there. It's good. There's no gas or anything in it, so smells just like, and actually not really that dirty. The guy told me the truck had been sitting for about a year. The battery was dead on it. Luckily, the battery came back to life. I came and put it on charge. This is not a 5.7 liter Hemi Magnum. Oh no. Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's a Magnum engine. But I don't like that. These aren't technically Hemis. They are Magnums, but they're not technically Hemis. So everything else looks fairly decent. Don't really see any major leaks. So there's a piece of the exhaust shield fell off. Air conditioner condenser back here isn't attached to the firewall like it should be. So I'm going to be saying, unless I put excuse me, a ton of money into this, the air conditioning's never going to work. A little bit of valve cover leak, seepage on this side. That's pretty common. A fuse panel not attached under the hood here. Ooh, we got dinner tonight, boys. Who was working on this and left pizza? Better yet, how did that pizza last? New brake line. Which reminds me, this truck has 0 brakes. Now, I'm not going to say 0. It's either nothing or everything, which tells me there's a bad line on it somewhere. This side's still missing its assist spring, but it's in a little bit better shape. So, washer fluid's about topped off, so we're doing good there. Let's get under the truck. Let's get under the truck and see what we got going on under the truck, because something's odd about that bumper. Something's definitely off with the front end. The guy told me it needed tie rods when I bought it, but I don't think it's tie rods. I'm going to guess this needs a track bar. All right, I just took a peek under the truck, and oh man, sometimes it sucks being a fat kid. I can already tell you what is exactly wrong with the front end. That there, let me scoot in a little closer here for you. That there is the track bar relocation bracket that comes with the lift kit. And I can see up here that the bolt, right there, that holds it in is sheared off. And the bolt is missing out of this. I'm not sure how Rough Country does their brackets on these trucks. I've never actually done a lift on these trucks to figure that out. But that is our problem. My truck is sitting 6 inches to the wrong side. Also noticed some really nice rust in each frame horn, and looks like some really nice booger welds there and there. There and there. So that's going to be interesting. Good thing I'm a good welder. I also noticed that the spring perches here are completely rotted out on both sides of the truck. The tie rods are actually okay. We have a little bit of a leak of something, but it's not like an active leak. The brakes on the front of this truck are absolutely smoked. So we're definitely getting brakes for the front of it. I mean, there's a little bit of an oil leak up there, but I got nothing terrible. I'm not seeing anything that, other than this leak from the trans cooler. I'm not seeing any issues other than that. Oh, there's a broken sway bar link on that side. But again, just look at the shape these rotors are in. That is rough. That is rough. Smell a little bit gear oil down here, so that's probably what that wetness is right there. But then again, the whole front of this truck is wet. I'm going to guess that it's from that trans cooler leaking. You can see that spring perch is rotted off. Now I can get new ones online. I have done those before. They're about $70 online. You cut them out, you put new ones in, you weld them in. It's a little bit of a process because you got to take the springs, the shocks, all of that back out of the truck. But so be it. Let's get under the other side. I mean, a little bit of oil, and there's a little bit of leakage around the oil pan. But I mean, look at those rims. If it wasn't for those, I wouldn't have bought this truck, but I have no idea who Monster Off-Road is. But the rims are nice. And we got a Rover Claw ATL Atlander. No, not familiar with that either. Here's your train horn setup. We got a 12-volt compressor here, made by Klein air horns. Too loud, too bad. But looks like maybe a little 2-gallon tank. No, these aftermarket lift kits come with longer control arms for the to keep the front axle centered properly. Looks like it's got a new trans pan on it. That's interesting to see, since one of the complaints is that it doesn't have reverse. So that tells me somebody has been in the transmission. That oil filter is ancient. That has not been off there in a very, very long time. And again, you can see a little bit of leakage. I wonder if that's coming from a rotted oil filter. What that is. Yeah, that leak is at the oil filter or higher. Yeah, that's no bueno. So we'll have to change an oil filter. That's rotted out. The guard for the front axle selector. Front seal leak. That looks like trans fluid that's leaking, not oil. So we got a front seal leak on the transmission. The floors are solid on this truck, which is really nice to see for a Michigan truck. I know the rockers look like shit, but the floors are solid, so I'm really happy to see that. That's a lot less extra work on my part. That's not good. Frame's rotted out there. How's the other side? Oh, other side's even worse. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. Luckily, that looks like that's just the doubler, not the actual frame rail itself. So we can just clean this up and scab another, we'll weld another piece over it. Scab another piece over it, and it'll be good to go. I'm not too worried about that. I have seen and repaired a heck of a lot worse. A heck of a lot worse. This air compressor setup is definitely jankified on this truck. I'm not sure. To put a self-tapper right through your frame. Let's make another rust spot instead of attaching it to an existing bolt. I mean, like one of these trans-mount bolts. I would have probably done that instead. Fuel tank's here. Fuel tank straps are in good shape. Oh, we do have an aftermarket exhaust on it. Didn't notice that before. With, I guess what you could call mufflers. Those aren't, What am I stuck on? Some kind of glass pack on there. I mean, not bad work. Somebody fancies themselves a, somebody fancies themselves a muffler guy. There's the train horns on the back there. We'll roll around back there in a minute. The rear brakes are questionable. I haven't seen a broken brake line yet, but I know there is one. Some rough country shocks. That one looks like it might be leaking. Hope somebody out there is keeping a list of everything that needs done, because I think I forgot half of it already. But there's the train horns. Let's get around over there. All right, now we're coming under the back of the truck. And dual exhaust. There's your roll pan. I wonder if those work. Probably not. Ooh, that's a drywall screw. Is that in there? Ugh. Oh yeah, that was just waiting to fall out and ruin somebody's day. What is tucked in here? What is this? What is that? Some wires for another light, maybe? Or is that the light? I bet that is the wire for that. Yes, it is. I can look up in that hole and see. I don't know if you can see, but I can see. So that's the answer to that question. They are not hooked up. All right, air horns. That one's there. This one is not. I have another set of these, but they don't have the 12 volt valves on them. I wonder if I can swap those over. They're allowed though for, man, I can't stop yawning today. They're allowed though for one missing its bugle or whatever. Oh, that's rotted off. We could just tack that back on there, that's fine. No spare tire though. I guess they thought air horns are more important than spare tires. Nothing too alarming back here. I mean, they got a little bit of surface rust. Nothing absurd. Surprised they left the trailer hitch on it with the roll pan, but I don't see anything too offensive back here. Bed's in really good shape. I mean, really good shape, so I don't think this is the original bed. It really can't be. With the way the rockers look on this truck, this cannot be the original bed, because this is way too nice of a bed. All right, let's get out from under here and see what we're going to do about those brakes. I think that should be step one, get the brakes working. All right, let's start with the passenger side. Yeah, I love it when I see this. When people just spray paint this. I've seen this a few times on Craigslist and eBay and all that, and Craigslist and Marketplace. I don't understand that. The door panels have obviously been sprayed. Ooh, almost dropped my phone there. That would have been a bad day, wouldn't it? Not 100%. Oh, you know what these are? These are the vents for the dash. I knew it had a good dash in it, but that explains it. These are the dash vents. Well, there's a door handle or a column handle. Yeah, would have went right there. Ooh, what do we got? 3/8 impact swivel. Job smart. I'm making my money back on this truck already. And we got a wrench. Is it a 10? Is it a 10? Is it a 10? It's a 10. We got a Pittsburgh 10 millimeter. Oh, we got a socket. Is that a matching 10? It's a 9. It's a 9. We'll live with that. Big socket in here. That must be for the hub. Engine 5/8. Yep, that's a hub socket for this truck. I've done enough of these that I believe the 1500s are the hub socket. There's some other random nasty garbage in there I don't feel like digging through. Oh man, this truck is just chock full of tools. We got ourselves another socket, an extension, 1/4-inch drive extension. We got another socket. I don't know who owned this truck before me, but they really felt like giving all their tools away. Key fob. I don't know if either of those will work for the truck. And a big bolt. All right. Do the duck back doors work? Holy crap, they work. These never work on these trucks. At least not used ones. That's one of the main jobs I always end up fixing. There's no back seat in it, so I don't know how I'm going to remedy that yet. But maybe the junkyard's in order for that one. There's very minimum. We'll probably be spray painting it black, and I don't know. I don't know yet. Let's go for a dig in the glove box. That is not attached. That is a bracket for a radio install and Taco Bell sauce packets and a light bulb for the taillights. Nothing exciting. I was hoping for more tools. Wait, is it broke? Is it broke? It's broke. They're always broke. Every Dodge I've ever owned, they're broke. That side looks interesting. Let's go ahead and go around to the driver's side. I upgraded my light. A little worse on this side. I got a door jamb, door latch there that's got to be fixed. More wonderful paint. What do we got in here? Ooh, we got a bell. I bought this truck from a guy who rides a motorcycle. He's actually in a club, so I bet that was, I might be wrong, but that might be it, from putting on a motorcycle. Got some change in here, and a chainsaw blade, more vent covers, the original manual, and some garbage, more change. Let's see. Does it have anything good in it? Sometimes these people stick the original window stickers and stuff in here. What do we got here? A word for a dealer about emissions. Oh yeah, delivery. Truck was delivered 9/1/99, September of 99. And this is a 98 truck, so that makes sense. What else is in here? Some Michelin stuff. All your normal garbage that comes in the book. I was hoping for the original window sticker. Some Harley Davidson floor mats. Bottom of the column is missing. Got a button here. Oh, this truck has air horns. I took the key out of it. Let's see, does it still have air in it? Still has air in it. This truck does have air horns. It's also got a Dixie horn. Forgot about that. I actually drove the truck for the first time today, pulling it into the shop. The radio's missing, so I got to track down a radio for it. Does the back door work? Holy shit, I'm striking 1,000 here. Both doors. Oh, this one's missing. It's interior. I am definitely thinking a trip to the junkyard is in order for us. Because I would like to start putting the interior of this truck back together. Well, let's see what's under the hood. Now you see I already had a jack under it. That's because when I came in earlier, I thought this wheel looked like it was on an odd angle. So I jacked it up to see if the ball joints were bad, and they weren't. Because like I said, the previous owner said that this truck had bad tie rods. I don't know what it has, but it's a lot. All right, after casing this truck from one end to the other, I believe I found my bad brake line right there. Because that actually looks new. That must be where that other new line is coming in from up top, out of the master cylinder. So that is where our leak is. And that one I believe comes down, well, I mean, that one's the crossover to the other front brake is what that is. That goes down around under the frame rail, all the way around to the other side. Comes up right here and attaches right here to that brake. Can you see it from the top? I can't. Maybe you can. I can't see it from the top. Yeah. Oh, there we go. There's a good view. Comes in, hooks, goes right there, and then goes to this line. It looks like it might be seeping on this side too. So let me go see if I've got enough brake line to do that. Then we're gonna have to get these brakes bled again. Where's the Croyle? Where's the Croyle? I got Croyle around here somewhere. Let's go find the Croyle. I don't have any brake line with me. I really thought I did. But I gotta go tomorrow and pick up the replacement tank and sending unit for that truck, but don't look at that. That's not a Dodge, so we don't talk about that. That's actually, I'm making a video on that one too. Depending on which one of my channels this video comes out on, you may or may not, that video may or may not be on there. I'll let you know. But, long story short, I found Croyle. Obviously, I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not popular enough. But I love Croyle. We're going to go ahead and give her some juice. Let's give that some juice, too, because I'm going to have to replace that. Let's get over here. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's some good stuff. That is some good stuff. Oh, man. What else should I squirt? I guess maybe these shock tower bolts. Oh, my light's dying. Is my light dying? No. Nope. Yes. No. No. Maybe those shock tower bolts if I've got to take the shock towers off. This one's pretty well lubed, so I may not have to do too much with that one. Again, I guess I'll spray the shock tower bolts. Got to put a new sway bar link on it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh. Get in there. Get in the hole. There you go. Yeah, you can see how the spring is literally pushed up against the bracket there, the C on the end of the axle. Then you can see how far, oh, almost dropped my coil. Don't want to do that. Man, my light, what is going on here? You can see how far that shock is pushed over there too. There's an easy way to correct this. For now, at least. Let me take it off the jack. And then, see if this will, see that? See how much movement there is? That's that. Obviously that track bar missing. Yeah, she don't want to move over far enough. I'll have to start it and move it while it's started. Well, there's the initial walk around on this truck. Tomorrow I'll have to go get some brake line. Ignore my messy shop. I got a scrap guy coming for all that crap. As you can tell, I do work on a lot of stuff here. So, yeah, you're dealing with me adjusting the camera while I talk to you. So I'm running some brake line for this tomorrow. That'll let me at least get the brakes functioning on this truck. Man, I should probably grab some bolts for that track bar link. Try to get that back in place. I really need to make a list. I need a trans cooler, or I guess I could just bypass this. I'm not towing a trailer, so it may or may not even need that, to be perfectly honest. I mean, that may honestly be our problem why we don't have reverse. I mean, the truck went forward okay because I drove it in here. I started it and drove it in here. But that may honestly be why we lost reverse. It's definitely worth topping the trans off and seeing. Because that's been leaking for a while, clearly. And like I said, this has a new trans pan on it, which makes that really odd. So, oh man, there's a lot to do on this truck. I gotta figure out if we're gonna try to put a coat of paint on this thing. Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. Figure I'm gonna try to put a coat of paint on this, just go back to black. Oh yeah, why is this bumper messed up? Why is this bumper so back so oddly? Is it just the brackets? Did they just put the brackets on weird? Well, it seems how the brackets don't even have all their bolts in them. I'm gonna lean with maybe we just need to make an adjustment on the brackets. Yeah, I'm gonna say we just need to make an adjustment on the brackets because they don't even have all their bolts in them. No! What is going on with you today? Start! Yeah, I'm gonna say somebody just slammed that on, not paying attention to what they were doing. Because that side's only got one of its two bolts, and that side's got both its bolts, but one is loose. Not sure what this was for, why they cut that out, unless they had fog lights in there at one time, maybe. So yeah, trip to the junkyard is in order. I have a front bumper for one of these trucks. I have a really nice front bumper up in my office. That came off of my truck, my service truck I got in West Virginia. That's a really nice bumper. Probably too nice to put on this truck. I don't know, I'll think about it. But there you go. You got the walk around. You got the dime store. You got the dime store tour on her. There ain't no coolant in it. There ain't no coolant in it that I can see. So that might be another problem we're looking at. There's a lot of problems on this truck. There's a lot of problems on. Nope. They're not problems. They're adventures. They're adventures. They're not problems, they're adventures. I will see you guys tomorrow when I get some brake line. Alright, on the Dodge here, I took off the old trans cooler. I got some trans fluid and a coupler. We're going to just splice those two lines together for now till we get a new trans cooler. Top off the transmission and see if she moved under her own power, because when I bought this truck they said it needed a transmission. So I know it moves because I drove it into the shop, but it wasn't happy about moving. It was acting like it was severely low on trans fluid, and we know that thing was leaking. So I don't know if that'll take care of the no reverse, It should 100% take care of the intermittent forward issues. But let me go ahead and try and get that line plugged up there. Alright, I got that line bypassed. I added 3 quarts of trans fluid. It's a little high on the dipstick now with 3 quarts, but when we started, it's definitely going to go down. But I'm going to go ahead and jump in there and see if she moves. Alright, I'm not sure how good that camera angle is. You're sitting up on the dash of the truck. Let's go ahead and start her. And then see. Alright, well, I'm a really bad YouTuber because my camera died while I was in the truck. I'll have to see how much of that video you guys even get to see, but all forward gears, no reverse. So we're going to dive under the truck now. I'm going to try my new Ryobi here. Most of my stuff's Milwaukee, but I picked this thing up for like 40 bucks at the tool outlet. So we're going to try it and see how good it is. 3/8 impact. Got my clean trans fluid pan there so we can drain the trans fluid and potentially reuse it depending on how it looks. So nice thing about working on lifted trucks, don't need to jack them up. Let's get under here. Now this transmission has been worked on in the past. Sorry to get this camera angle right. Because that is a fairly new aftermarket trans pan. So we're going to crack her open here and see what comes out. The nice part about these aftermarket trans pans is they come with a drain plug on them. I could be wrong, but at least none of my second gens have ever had a drain plug on the pan, but all the aftermarket pans I've bought have had drain plugs on them. Now, I know this one's a newer aftermarket one because that pan's way too nice for this old of a truck, but let's go ahead and get this drained. And the nice part about this, ow, that was really in there. Busted my knuckles on that cross member. I'm glad I put gloves on. Because otherwise you got to take these bolts out and kind of slowly drop one edge of the pan and then hope that you catch it all. Try not to, I'm just going to take my gloves off. Try not to get any trans fluid on my brand new gloves. Ooh, boy, that is. That is not good looking trans fluid. That is not good looking trans fluid at all. Oh, and it smells really bad. Really, really bad. Oh boy. Maybe we do need a trans. Maybe we do need a trans. Alright, let's just let that thing drain and then we'll get that pan dropped and see what it looks like under there. Alright, let's get that oil pan off there. I went ahead and switched over to my crappy gloves, because this always makes a mess. But let's give this Ryobi a try. Not bad, not bad. This thing's like 168 foot-pounds or something like that. It's not a ton, but it's also only a 3/8. So it's also only a 3/8. So probably gonna have to get a wrench or a ratchet out to get those couple tight ones up there. I can just tell by the way this thing's all coming apart that this thing 100%. I mean, we knew that from the trans pan, but I've done enough of these over the years that these things can be a real pain in the noggin to get out. How's that? Alright, let me get a wrench to get those couple out. Or a non-deep well would work too. Alright. Couple more bolts here. I'm on the other side now if you can't tell. I'll get this thing out of here. That is the third bolt that I pulled out that wasn't even tight. Well, that's interesting. One more bolt. This thing should be ready to come down. We need to get a better position here. We'll take a look at what's what the inside of this trans looks like. I don't have very high hopes after seeing that fluid. Alright. The bolt. Comes the pan. Alright. Now I don't know how much evidence we'll have of anything in the pan. Oh yeah, I could. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we got metal. We got a lot of metal. See if I can get the camera in here to show you guys. I don't know if you can see that. There's some in the pan there, or in the drain pan. There is some in the pan there. It looks like there's some debris. Oh yeah. Yeah, let me get into this thing and see where we're at. I'll get back to you guys. Alright, so we went ahead and decided just to go ahead and pull the transmission on this truck. I wanted to save it. I really didn't want to have to put a transmission in it. But there's a bunch of metal in the pan and some sizable chunks. The fluid was absolutely disgusting. It smells terrible. I can smell it standing here. I don't know what the deal is going on with that. But, so I'm going to start ripping it out. I'm not going to film the whole tear out process. There's 10,000 videos online on how to take transmissions out of these things. Pretty straightforward process. Drop the drive shaft, drop the starter, pull the torque converter bolts, pull the trans lines and the linkages, take the center cross member out, drop the whole thing, separate the transfer case, put the transfer case on the new transmission, and do everything in reverse. It's not a crazy hard process. The hardest part is those couple bell housing bolts, but you just lean the motor back, take those out, push the motor back up, take your bottom ones out. It's not a big deal. But I'll show some processes while I'm doing it, but let's start tearing this thing apart. Just a quick tip here on these, the trans lines that go out to the trans cooler. You got one here, and then you got one here. If you heat those up just a little bit, not a lot, just warm them up a little bit, and then just tap them with a hammer or your wrench or something, they'll spin right free 9 times out of 10. So, and then on this linkage here, you know, take it apart at this end, not this end. That way you don't have I mean, you're replacing the trans anyways, but that way you can save on this bushing a little bit. At least that's what I like to do. So that way you, and this end's a lot easier to get out because it's just a little cotter key, cotter pin, whatever you want, R clip that keeps that in there. So just a little bit of a tidbit there for you guys. All right, remember when I said if you just warm those lines up and give them a little bit of tap with the hammer, they'll come right free? Well, this was the 1 in 10 times it didn't do that for me. This whole line here is twisting. So we're just gonna go ahead and make our lives real easy and cut these lines. Don't really care about them anyways. So let's cut those and get them out of the way. All right, I went ahead and got the new transmission up on the trans jack. There's the old one. Used the old chain jack attached to the ceiling because I didn't want to hurt my back. I've lifted enough of these over the years, and that's probably why I'm messed up like I am now. So let's take the seatbelt strap off of it the junkyard provided us with and shove this thing in there. Okay, so I got bored with the transmission. I still need to finish that up. But so I went ahead and took the entire front end of the truck apart because that wasn't sitting on there straight, if you remember correctly. I wanted to figure that out. When I took it apart, I found there was only one bolt in this fender holding it on, and it was ripped out, so this fender had dropped down. So no hardware here, no hardware on the inside of the fender there. There should be like 5 bolts, 4 or 5 bolts in there. And those were all missing. They're also all missing on this side. At least the top bolts were in here. I loosened those up to try to push the fender in because those inside bolt holes weren't lining up. So that all needs to get straightened out. Luckily, I have an entire box of bolts because I've done so many fenders on these trucks that I have an entire box of fender bolts at my house, so I got to bring those in. Also found out that that needs to be, I don't know, some bigger washers or something put in there to hold that in place. There's where I bypassed the trans cooler. The headlights are over here. They're all busted and messed up. There's the taillights. I took those out too. Found out this front cross member has actually been replaced at some point in time, and it's just booger welded on. So when I go put this back together, oh yeah, the bumper bolts, half of them were loose. Seems to be a theme on this truck. Loose bolts, missing bolts, you know. Like the front hood mount here, or the front cross member here, that one's backed 1/4 inch out. They didn't bother tightening that one up. This radiator's held on this side with a bungee. I don't know how I didn't notice that before, but that's just because the bolt's missing. Just need to put the bolt back in, which again, I'm pretty sure I've got in my giant box of Ram bolts at the house. So I guess now I'll get back to the transmission. I got sidetracked. That happens. So, but we'll get the front end put back together later. I got my new spring perches in the mail today. So those are good to go on. As soon as I get the front end, start rebuilding the front end. I said I got to tear that all apart to do the brakes anyways, so we'll do the spring perches then. And again, I can't believe they assembled this truck with those spring perches rotted out because the spring on that side. Actually, now that it's the front end's apart, you could probably see it real easy. Look how far off that spring is because that spring perch rotted out. So we'll get all that put back together. All right, let's get back on that transmission. Sorry for the sidetrack. All right, now we got the new transmission started. I got the, sorry about the shadow, the bolts there, right there by the oil filter. I got those both in on both sides. There's also an alignment pin on each side of the transmission. Those were actually a real pain to get lined up for some reason. I really fought those this time. But we got that in. Now the next part is I got to get the rest of the bell housing bolts in. I bet I can get in there and show you those. Let me roll around here. Finally got around to fixing my creeper. It's been missing a wheel for the better part of a year. And I got mad at it yesterday and just decided to weld the wheel back on since the bolt stripped out. Let's go ahead and lower this. I'll lower her. All right, that's good. I'll see if I can stick my light up in here. All right, there we go. All right, light is in. All right, if you look, you can see right at about the 11 o'clock, the 1 o'clock, the, I don't know, 3 o'clock, and the 9 o'clock over there, there's holes. That's where those bell housing bolts got to go. And it's going to be way easier with this transfer case off to get those put in there. I might actually have to reach my arm up in there and get them started. I don't want to cross thread any of them. And then we got that installed, and then we'll put the cross member back in, and then the transfer case. Probably, I might spray some paint on these inside of the frame here before I put the cross member back in. I don't know, probably not, but we'll see. All right, let's get that done now. Moving on. All right, well, I was bad and got severely distracted again from installing the transmission. I did get those bell housing bolts and stuff in there, And then I started looking around. I was going to put the cross member in, and then I started looking like, man, it would be nice to take care of this frame rust before I go through all the effort of putting the transmission, and there's a transfer case and a drive shaft and everything in my way. So yeah, I'm going to pivot a little bit and take care of the frame rust. So you can see I started cleaning. So I'm just going to be patching that over. Like, luckily the actual frame is solid. But I'm going to throw a patch over that just for aesthetics and stuff. And oh yeah, then because of that, I took the air system off the side. If you remember, this truck had air horns. There's the air tank and the compressor. Because I'm keeping those. I'm not selling those with the truck. So I went ahead and pulled those off the side. So I guess let's patch this frame over before we finish putting the trans and have all that crap in our way. Alright, we're back under the Dodge. Trying to get the cross member back in. Look at that, ain't that pretty? Fix that rust. Hey, it ain't gonna win any awards, but it looks better. So we're gonna try to get this cross member in. These are an absolute pain in the butt because the frame is, I don't know if it's narrower or if it's the exact size of one of these, but I found the best way is you get one side started. I'm gonna put like a bolt in one or two of those edge holes to keep that side from falling out, and then you pretty much just hammer that side back in and it will go. It's not the easiest thing, and hell, if there's an easier way to do this outside and somebody wants to fill me in, I'm always ears. But I'm gonna get that hammered in, but you don't need to listen to me or watch me bang around for the next half hour. Alright, got it in. You can see I got one bolt on that side, one bolt on that side. Literally, like I said, just hammer it in. It went in. Then I gotta get my trans brackets put all back in. Then I'm gonna get all this stuff over here hooked up, and then I'll put the transfer case in. But we're almost there. Alright, as typical with me, I got bored again. Putting the trans in, I got the cross member in, I got the trans supports in, so I went ahead and installed the replacement hood hinges I got. There's the old ones all mangled up as they are. This is what they had holding the hood hinges in. Some self-tappers, about 3 in each hood hinge, and that's not proper hardware. So now they are reinstalled with the proper hardware, with new hinges, and they're black so they match the truck. So there's the old fiberglass hood. I'm not a huge fan of this thing. Not to mention one of the bolts broke off in it while I was taking it off, but I'm not a huge fan of this. I don't like the mesh and the scoops and stuff. Not to mention the grill is just kind of screwed and bolted together all goofy like, even though I do have replacement grills. But I got a line on a new hood and grill for 150 bucks. So we're gonna go with that. And I think that's where I'm gonna leave it for that. I think I'm gonna go home. Tomorrow I'll probably come around and finish getting that transmission potentially hooked up. If not, maybe I'll start on the brakes. I don't know. I have ADHD. I keep getting bored and bouncing around from project to project on this truck. But now I got the new hood hinges installed. That was something that bothered me because the old hinges, the springs were missing, and on that bracket on the passenger side, this was disconnected. The center bracket was disconnected for some reason. But I'm gonna leave it there for the night. Alrighty, we went ahead and got the transfer case put back in. So that's bolted in all nicely. I made a holy mess on the ground with fluid coming out of the back of it, but that's back in there. I usually just kind of roll those onto my chest and kind of just bench them up into place in there. But now we'll get the drive shafts hooked up, all the linkages and controls and everything all hooked up. And yeah, that's the next step. And stick the drive shafts back in. As you can tell, I've got all kinds of crap hanging down here. I've got to get all hooked and fastened back up, but I guess we'll go ahead and get at that now. Also got this cross member all bolted back in. 6 out of the 8 bolts are all nice new fancy bolts. But yeah, so let's get at that now. Hello, my name is Ben and I have ADHD, and I've once again got bored with putting the transmission in this truck. So now I'm going to take a look at these front brakes. I did remember, if you remember, I did buy rotors, calipers, pads, everything for the front of this truck brake-wise. The previous owner said it had bad tie rods also. I have not found bad tie rods. It had a broken track bar bolt, so I think that's where he thought he had that, because I'm not feeling much play in the tie rods at the moment. I'm taking these covers off, and I'm going to hope that these are not specialty lug nuts under here, because there's no lug nut key in this truck anywhere. So it's nice and broken, but I grabbed my light, which I don't know where I left. I lose my flashlights more than anything. What did I do with my flashlight? Let's see. And alright, good. They do look like standard lugs. Let's give them a little bit of juice before we go to pull them off. So again, I do love Croyle. I'm not sponsored by Croyle. I wish I was. But I do love Croyle. Alright. Let me get an impact and a socket that fits that. Alright, now this truck does have spacers on it. If anybody's ever dealt with spacers that have been over torqued or have been on there for a really long time, sometimes the studs can actually spin in the spacer. That one didn't. Doesn't seem to have. Actually, these are coming off nice and easy, which I'm really, really glad to see. I got 3 more to go. I shouldn't speak too soon. Yeah, that one nice and easy. This socket just barely fits in these holes. Now, these are not on very tight now that I'm looking at them. I mean, there are special torque specs you're supposed to go with when you're using wheel spacers, so you don't damage the wheel spacers. And I don't know if these are just loose or if somebody actually followed those torque specs, which I'd be shocked, because nothing else on this truck, and I mean nothing else on this truck, has been done properly. So I'd be shocked if that was. Yeah, I'll get those out later. Oh yeah, look at that front rotor. Oh yeah. Yeah, those pads are completely gone too. And this is gone. Look at this. This is the spring perch. I've got new ones of those. So while I'm in here, I'll take the shock and compress the spring and get the spring out of there. I mean, that's bent to shit too, isn't it? I didn't get any sway bar links, but I think I can live without those. It's bent, but it's still there. All the rest of this looks decent. I don't see any major rust or anything. Let's see if these are 3/4 too. No, they can't be, because that doesn't even fit. So that's a standard lug nut. It's got a cap on it. in there. So I guess, what about this? I don't think I got the right size here. Nah, too small. I'll have to grab my bigger Allen key set. Ball joints actually look fairly new. Look at these things. Jeez, beats. I can barely spin that. These roads are smoked. Alright. Guess I'm going to tear into all this. Maybe at least get this side rebuilt today. I may try to get that spring out of there today. I guess while I'm at it, let's go ahead and juice everything. The shock tower bolts. Shock bolt there. Definitely want to get this track bar bolt because I have to take that out because, like I said, that it broke the upper bolt over there that goes into the frame. And bolt that holds this shock in. So I got to get all this out and then I got to cut all this out. That's going to be fun and a lot of work, but so be it. If it was just this side, I probably wouldn't be replacing these because as shitty as this one looks, it is holding the spring. But that one on the other side isn't even holding the spring anymore. The whole spring's rotted and shifted and fallen off of this side. And this lift kit isn't that old. It's not old. So whoever did this lift kit, those were bad. Like those were gone. And they still decided to go ahead and do this lift kit, which is, hey, whatever. But let me find a socket for these. Probably 18, maybe 17. Who knows? $17. 17 it is. All right, let's get those off. I gotta decide if I'm gonna put this truck back together with a spacer. Because I personally, oh, that is not a, I was wrong. That is not a 17. That is a specialty locking nut. But my 17 socket went on there and got it off. Okay, well, I have some of these specialty sockets floating around, so in one of my kits somewhere. So let me get back into that. All right, got my plug nut master set here, Harbor Freight Maddox. And there's one missing, and I really hope it's not the one I need. Well, I guess this set doesn't have it in there. 5/8, 5/8, 11/16, 41/64. There's too many splines in it anyways. 6 spline. This says on the side, half 20. Oh, you know what, that's the thread. I almost bet you this one is that 6 spline small diameter socket. 6 splines. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yep. That's the one I'm missing out of here. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? The other option is that 17 millimeter got it off no problem, but I had to pound it out in my vise over there. So I think I'm going to look for that 6 spline socket a little more. It's got to be around here. That's a bummer. Alright, well I can't find one of them sockets anywhere. I'm going to hope that it's the same size as the one that's on my Jeep, because that would make it real easy, because I do have those lugs on my Jeep, and I think they're the same size, but I don't remember. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is work on taking the rest of this front apart. We don't technically need to get those off right now. Yeah, there's that one there. There's a lot of rust in there. Go grab my ratchet. Put it here. Work on getting those off. I don't think these have been off in a very long time. That scares me. Because the caps are missing too. Which means these bolts, which are Allen heads, are just absolutely full of rust and crud and because I have some right here actually that are off one of my trucks. These little caps go in the back of these rubber plugs, and stop from doing that. Fortunately, this is the kind of stuff you get into when you start dealing with older vehicles that weren't very well taken care of, like this truck. Oh, that one's coming. This top one scares me, though. This top one scares me. I think it's out of there. Yeah, that bottom one's loose, so that top one's gonna be fun. I'll get back with you guys when it's out. Alright, I got that one broke free. Just took me hammering a socket in there. I went and matched them up to the new ones. The new ones are a 3/8 Allen head. I thought they were 10s. That 10 fit in that bottom one down there, but apparently just because it was a little bit rusted out. getting it out of there. Then we can get this caliper off. Press this a little bit. If you take a pry bar on these Dodges, there's a little gap between the inside shoe and the cylinder. You can actually pry in on that a little bit, collapse that cylinder a little bit, and it makes popping these off a whole lot easier. There we go. Oh yeah. Them puppies were cooked. As you can see, there's a quite a good section of the pad missing. Throw that in the scrap pile. The outside one wasn't terrible, still probably about half the pad left on it. But we're replacing these calipers anyways. I got new calipers. Because the pins are seized in them. Alright. Front rotor time. Hub and everything feels good. See, these look actually fairly new to me. Tie rods look new. All of this actually looks fairly new to me. So I don't think any of this is going to be a problem anytime soon. Even the track bar looks newer. It just broke free from the frame where the lift kit comes with an extension block. I'll show you guys that later. That extension block broke off the frame where it bolts. I don't think it's going to take any welding. I just think I need to put a new bolt in it. Man, that sucker's cooked. Yes, sir, it is. Alright. I'm going to get this rotor off here. So this shot came out really easy. I mean, I kind of figured it would. With it being a little bit better of a light output. With it being, like I said, a fairly new lift kit. That bolt is a little on the rusty side, but I'm going to take off these four upper bolts here, then I'm just going to pull the shock straight out the top. So both the spot and flood combo as well as the spots. And that'll give me access to. Would actually be cheaper than just two Baja Design LP6s on the front. Now, what I don't want to happen is turn this video into a comparison video between Road Shocks and Baja Designs. But if you have that sucker was on there. They are very familiar. All right, now if you can see that, this will just all should. Of course, it's going to be stuck now. There we go. This will just come right out the top. And there's your shock and your shock mount. Set those off to the side. I did drop the nut. And the my socket somewhere down in here. So that's kind of a bummer. I'll find those. Now let's see if we can get the spring out of here. The sway bar is going to give us problems getting that spring out. I already know what it's going to. Let's see if we can get that sway bar off. Under the truck. All right, I'm taking this spring out. I've got my spring compressors on both opposite sides of each other out here. We're just going to crank these down as evenly as possible to ensure, like I said, keep them even, or one could pop out. A few turns on that one. A few turns on this one. Yeah, if you don't have spring compressors in your toolbox, it's definitely a must-have. Yeah, see the top of the springs already coming free of the housing. I also put a jack stand under there and then lowered the axle as far as it would go. So, and then whenever you take spring compressors out, you do the exact same thing, just as evenly as possible. There's actually no weight on this. Well, there was no weight on it until I started doing the spring compressor. I couldn't get that sway bar link off, so I decided to leave it and go with the spring compressors. Otherwise, this front end would have dropped enough to get that out. But I don't feel like spending money on sway bar links, even though those are bent. I probably will end up replacing them. I just haven't decided on that yet. It's very important to keep your fingers out of here. Don't put them in there. Don't put them in the spring. Don't put them by the spring compressors. If I do go to grab the spring, I'm going to grab above or below the spring compressor, because these things can spin, and if they spin, they can pinch your fingers. I've never had it happen, but I know a guy who broke 3 fingers on his one hand with that doing that exact same thing. So I am not going. That's another turn or 2 on each side. They'll be out. Close. So what do you feel about initial reviews? Do you think they're pretty great? We're going to go ahead and pop on the lens covers. See what those look like. There we go. She's out. Alright, let's go back out and check those. Just rub the space with it. Be very careful. Don't ever point this at your face. Anything like that. Nothing. And that I never leave my springs compressed. So, I'm going to undo this, take the tension off. I don't like having ticking time bombs sitting around my shop. So, I went ahead and took those off. The springs out. Now we can really see how bad this spring pocket was. There's not a whole lot left of that booger. Alright, well I gotta get that cut out of there. Because it's hard to tell. I mean, yeah, it has her high beams on. I've got this. I think go back in its place. I think when I set these up, I aimed them both to have that center high beam in the same spot, opposed to 2 different spots. I'm bummed because that is too small. That is too small. Even though I bought these for this truck. It's down on there nice though. I will say it. I think the Baja designs are a little bit brighter. What I would think would be $900 opposed to $300. I'm stupid. Bottom of the springs. Yeah, if you take a look at this thing, you can see she's pretty rusty. At least the the track bar bracket is still intact and in one piece, so that's a good sign. But yep, now we got to get all this cleaned up so I can get that new perch put in there. Not too bad. Not too bad. Alright, so we're back under here. I did get the socket for this wheel spacer, and then I promptly forgot it at home. But what we're going to do now is we're going to cut up and clean up this mounting surface to put our new wheel spacer, almost called it a wheel spacer. Our new spring pocket on, so we can then put our spring back in. So fits nice in there. So you can see how rotted out it was. I cut out a couple of these pieces, but we gotta take a lot more out. And then I gotta clean it up so I can weld it. You know, nothing too crazy, but it is going to stick. Alright, so I'm gonna get that cleaned up. I'm not gonna sit here and make you guys watch me grind on this thing for the next grind and cut on it for probably the next hour. But there it is. Alright, it's not beautiful, but we got that pocket welded in there. So I'm going to throw a coat of paint on everything under here. And then we're going to get that spring and that shock and everything put back in. But, well, it should work now. That's what's important. Alright, I went ahead and got her with the old Craigslist rebuild there. Almost looks like a new truck now, don't it? Get the spring and everything put back in here. And I guess we might call it a day. I don't know. I gotta spend more time on this than I am. But there she is. Well, there we go. We got that. We got the shock back in, shock tower on. We got everything under here Craigslist rebuilt. Like I said, most of this stuff was in good shape anyways. I mean, all the front steering components and everything on this truck were new. The only thing that were iffy were the fucking tie rods for the sway bar, but that's all back in. Nice new welded spring pocket. So next we're just gonna move on to the brakes, but I forgot the socket at home. So might have to do that another day. We'll get on to the other side probably now. We'll see. All right, now we got this whole side finished up, put back together. We got a new caliper, new rotor, new pads, new spring pocket, all welded in, all nice. We put the spacer back on. I'm not a fan of wheel spacers, but the wife's being insistent that we put the wheel spacers on this truck because she claims that is the look of this truck. So we're putting the wheel spacers back on. Everything on here is anti-seized. This thing I had to beat the ever-loving snot out of to get the old rotor off here. I had to make some relief cuts in it and then heat the ever-loving crap out of it. Beat on it with the big Tanya Harding, and we finally got her out. So this is all back together on this side. I just got to torque these these spacers, throw the wheel back on, and move on to the other side. So I will probably catch you on the other side. All right, I got this wheel and spacer and stuff off on this side. Yeah, there's that broken tie rod, sway bar link. But yeah, again, you can see how bad this one's rotted out, how far off to the side the shock is. I think the shock's the only thing keeping the spring in the truck right now. So we're gonna tear all that out and put a new support plate in there just like we did on the other side. But just thought I'd show you before I started tearing it apart. All right, so I got that spring pocket welded in there. As you can see, I did a quick Craigslist rebuild on this side just like the other side. I got the bolt out that broke off that holds that track bar in place. I put the new rotor and caliper and everything on this side. Put the wheel spacer back on. And then I got the thing, so there's the bolt, and I can't see that. There's the bolt that came out of that track bar. So I can go get a new one of those. So I can get that bolted up into place. And then, but I'm gonna, and I gotta put the spring and everything back in, but I'm not gonna do that till I get that track bar back in place because That'll make everything easier to get to. But in the meantime, I'm gonna put another coat on this Craigslist rebuild, little and get that finished up. And I think that's it for the day. So, all right. All right, I'm just in here taking these spring compressors off. I got that sway, or the track bar, all mounted back up in place. I actually had to get online and Google that. I did another one of these trucks with a 6-inch lift, a 2500, and I don't remember being set up like that, because that bracket's got 2 holes in it, one for where the normal bar mounts, and the other one mounts up on a cross member up there. So I actually had to go look that up, because like I said, I'm an idiot. Have I been tightening this thing the whole time? I have been. Ignore that. The fact that I've been tightening that instead of loosening it. Well, we're gonna go ahead and get this thing apart. Put the shock back in. And then we'll get this tire back on. And then other than bleeding the brakes, the front end is done. And then I guess I have to go back to putting that transmission back in. Not looking forward to that. I don't know why. I've done a bunch of them, but for some reason I hate doing transmissions. But oh well. I mean, I got a lot of other stuff I can do on this truck, but nothing I have parts for right now. Hopefully when that Ford sells, I'll have a lot of parts. I'll be able to finish getting the last couple things I need for this truck. Like the headlights, tail lights, sway bar links, and a battery. You gotta get a battery still too. But alright. Them are out. Let's get that shock put back in. Alright, we did a test here on the truck because we're gonna paint it. And I did a gloss black test, a flat black test, and then a different brand gloss black. So, I mean, the truck's flat black now, but I definitely think I'm gonna go back with the gloss black. I definitely think that looks the best. Get the old Rust-Oleum gloss on there. Get her all spiffed up a little bit, but I think that'll be good. Let me know what you guys think. By the time this video goes on, I'll already have it painted, but would you guys have left it flat black, or would you go with the gloss? Not like I can go back to the original paint color at this point, so since the previous owners, I mean, you can tell the previous color was white, but the previous owners went ahead and flat blacked the whole thing. Let me know. Well, I never claimed to be a body guy, but I got the front part of this fender fixed up a little bit. You know, I just sanded it, all the bad spots out, hit it with some of these spots with a little bit of primer, try to smooth them out a little bit. You know, we're gonna see how well. I just hit this fender with some degreaser, so they help the paint stick. Like I said, never claimed to be a body guy. I'll tuck these lights up in there. But let's see how she does. So this is kind of just a test. Unless it works, then it's permanent, right? That's how it goes, right? It's just a test unless it works. All right, I'll let that tack up real quick. I'll let that tack up real quick, and then maybe I'll hit her with another coat. But it came out pretty good. I know it's hard to tell on camera, but there was a big gouge right here before, and there was a pretty good gouge right here. This was pretty pocked up. So if that looks good when it dries, I'm gonna call that a win. I'll do another coat just to try to maybe even it out a little more, but hell, I can't complain about that. Get in there a little better, but I can't complain about that. Get the inner wheel wells and stuff. Like I said, that was kind of just a test of my own redneck body work. I mean, there's a couple little dings, but where I'm looking at it in the light now, I can see them. Little one right there, and little one right there, but that's where I'd actually done a little bit of work to get rid of a gouge that was there, so I may just not filled that properly, but for a rattle can paint job, she'll do. Now it's time to do the whole rest of the truck. All right, hey guys, we're back, and today you can see I've got a coat of paint on the whole truck. Not too bad. We went ahead and used these, Rust-Oleum turbo cans, which I gotta say, I painted this entire truck in 20 minutes with these things, and I used 2 cans. We'll say 2.5 because this one, as you can see, that one leaked, and then this one kind of exploded on me. Got paint all over my floor and everything. But I realize it's a rattle can paint job. I don't know how good it looks on the cameras, but this is after it's sat overnight. There's a couple of spots that feel a little sticky. That's a fingerprint. I obviously touched it when it was wet. Overall, I am not mad at this. Especially, you guys could see what it looked like before. I got all the windows taped off. I took the mirrors off. I painted the brackets while they were here. Obviously, I got the headlights and taillights in the mail yesterday, so we're gonna put those in today. Today, we're gonna be painting the hood, but that's after I extract the broken bolt out of it. One of the hood bolts broke off. Then we're gonna paint that. And after I put a coat of paint on that, we're gonna put the headlights and taillights in. I'm trying to look to see. It's kind of hard to tell. There's a light spot right there. There's a couple of light spots I'm gonna do my best to touch up. Like here on the bed, this is a weird spot where somebody did body work before me and it didn't quite lay right. So I might end up putting a whole new coat on just this bed alone. But we're gonna touch it up. The tailgate looks good. A couple thin spots I'll put a second coat on, but I'm really happy with the way this truck looks. Rust-Oleum paint. I'm sure a lot of people out there are gonna tell me I'm a hack and that it looks like crap, but compared to what it looked like before, and in fact, I used a couple of spray paint turbo cans, I like it. Let's get these headlights, taillights, and hood installed. All right, it might not look the best, but I went ahead and just threw one quick coat on the inside of the tailgate and up inside the tailgate jams. Just because I did have a whole extra can, I do have to save enough to paint the hood, which hopefully between these 3 cans, I have enough, maybe not. That one still feels okay. And I did some touch up around the rest of the truck, some of the light spots. So just figured I'd show you guys that real quick. I sprayed in here. Just one quick coat. I didn't do as good a job as I did on the rest of the truck, just because it's the inside of the bed. It's gonna get smacked up and tore up. I just threw some rags up there to keep me from overspraying the bed liner, but I gotta still clean all the garbage out of this thing. I actually just forgot about all that until I just dropped this tailgate to paint this. So that's fun. That's gonna be fun too, but just figured I'd show you guys that real quick. All right, as you can see, we got the tail lights in. I left a little plastic on them for now. Back end looks pretty good painted. I guess I can peel the tape off some of this stuff now, since this is all done. I just realized there's a smudge on the tailgate from hitting the roll pan. Oh, well, not much I can do about that, because I sure as hell ain't gonna redo this roll pan. Alright. So I ain't gonna redo that roll pan, so they'll just have to live with the smudge. I mean, you can see a little bit of the runs from my amazing spray can paint job. I even opened the fuel door and painted inside the fuel door. I got to finish putting the door panels in. But I got the headlights in too. So you can see the headlights. I bought the cheap Chinese headlights because they were, I think, 60 or 70 bucks for the headlights, and I think they were 40 or 50 bucks for the taillights. And they don't fit properly. They don't fit quite tight, and that's all the way pushed in, bolted in, adjusted, slid in. I got the rubbers actually attached here, as you can tell, that rubber, and then this whole headlight actually sticks out like a whole finger width further than it should. I might try to play with the adjusting screws a little bit to try and maybe pull those in, but yeah, I don't know. But that's what you get for buying the cheap headlights. But in the long run, they look considerably better than the old ones. Not to mention these old ones are completely busted to shit. So that's the way it's gonna have to roll. Said, I don't know if it's because I know these are the Chinese replacement fenders, and I know those are Chinese replacement headlights. So I guess when you get everything from China, something's bound to not fit quite right. So still got to get the passenger window working. Got to put the mirrors on. And then over here, I've got a new replacement hood for it. This is an actual real Dodge hood. So I know this will fit fine. There's the fiberglass hood that came on it. I just wasn't happy with that. So we're gonna go with the real Dodge hood. I'm gonna tape the grill off because I don't want to paint the grill. I like the grill to stay the shiny, nice black. And then I'm gonna paint the hood to match the truck. Even though the hood is black, I would like it to match the truck. So that's where I'm at on that one. So she's coming along. She's coming along pretty good. All right, got a coat of paint on the hood. I'm telling you, man, I love these turbo cans. I don't know how, I mean, I know they run a little bit. It's just gonna take a little bit of practice with me. I know I got a couple little runs. You can actually see it getting ready to drip here on the edge of the hood. But for what they are, for a quick paint job, holy hell do those things paint quick and cover. But there's the hood all done up. All right, so here I'm just throwing in the pictures of the truck outside with the paint all done up on it. I think it came out pretty good for what it is. We're gonna throw it up on Marketplace and see what we can get for it, and then we'll have some money to move on to our next project. But I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. Runs good and drives good now. Thanks for watching, and subscribe, please.